Is it the mustache? Who knows?
Unfortunately, the first minute is not in here. The mulligan for us was Vengeance, River Shaper, Palm, and I don't remember the fourth card. I think it was a Ruination, and I think we just kicked the Ruination and kept the other three. Debatable, not sure if it's correct. But all of these three are super duper useful in this matchup. And the only thing that happened on turn 1 was an Ari emote, and Czechia did not reply to the Ari emote, so we already had a big mental lead there. And let's jump into the game. So I muted the sound because it's just us talking in German. And I just skip through most of the roping if I'm not explaining something, so the games don't take forever. Pokrovac refused the emote. That's weak. Czechia developed the Mountain Goat on turn 2. I apologize for the choppiness. I was only able to stream in 15 FPS because I already streamed to the Riot server and my PC was about to explode. Anyway, turn 2, we decide on whether we want to Vile Feast the Goat or whether or not we want to keep the Vile Feast to later ping off a Barrier or a Bastion of the Lee Sin. But we run a bunch of Vile Feast, we run Concussive Pumps, we run a Steel Tempest. We figured there should be enough ways in the future, and we don't want the Goat to generate a lot of gems, which is also great for our opponent. Decide to Vile Feast and take the block. Twice the speed? Sure. Wait, how do I do this? In VLC Media Player, how do I double the speed? I need some tech wizards. And I'll also skip a bit through the gameplay. We decided to develop the River Shaper on 3. Fortunately for us, there was no response as we most feared a Zed. Easy attack, River Shaper generating value. I've German for 9 years and know like 5 words almost half my life. Yeah, German is not an easy language to learn. It's not very forgiving. How did we do? Stay and see. Stay and watch. Plus or minus on the numpad. Life hacks. Okay, opponents passed. We decide for a second whether we want to play Deep Med right now or just take the pass. Deep Med has 2 downsides. One is potentially being punished because opponents is trying to bait us into, I don't know, maybe they want to play a Z for whatever reason. But the bigger downside is hand size problems. We want to attack with River Shaper again. We draw a spell anyway. So we draw 2 cards per turn, and we're not sure if we play the Z this turn, right? If we play the Z, we allow them to play Lee Sin for free because we cannot represent removal anymore. We check our hand size, we're at 8, we're fine swinging and ending turn without overdrawing. And Czechia is going to have the same problem since they generated an extra card with a gem. Not going to jinx it, but internet looks good today. I do agree. Also a later hour than I usually stream at, so should be okay. Had French for 3 years and know how to say like 2 sentences. It's the same for me. Had it for like 5 years in school, but never practiced it. It's easy to forget. Guiding Touch for the cycle on our opponent's side. Makes a lot of sense. Mana utility, and they still represent the Lee Sin, which means we still cannot really tap below Vengeance mana. We think for a second, decide to end round. Okay. Our opponents right away drop the Lee. Not gonna jinx it, but your face looks good. Smooth. Okay, we decide what to do. This is a very interesting spot because we have 2 ways of dealing with this. We could either use the worst removal that we have, which is the Ruination, since it's a slow speed removal. But it gets hard punished by our opponents having Bastion instead of Deny. Like if Ruination trades with a Deny here, we're happy. Deny is a key card to get out. The other line is going to like Vengeancing the Lee Sin, and we can still represent to have a 2-mana ping for the Bastion upright, which means opponents realistically have to Deny. Then again, using the Vengeance while they did not expend neither Deny nor Vengeance yet is not a play we're very happy about. We think here for a second, decide to just develop Thresh and let Lee Sin sit for a while. Yeah, the new emotes are actually amazing. Very happy with how they turned out. Czechia decides to go for the Thresh removal. We're happy to... Okay, there's another interesting decision here. Steel Tempest or Concussive Palm to keep Thresh alive, or just let it go through replay Z. At this point, we decided to use the Tempest instead of the Palm, because you can always use Palm proactively and it doesn't have to be mid-combat. Which means you can proc spell shields, and Concussive Palm is better when it's double cast with Karma. Replay Z, replay Thresh, I'm not quite sure what I'm saying. How do I have 11 emote slots? I think I have 10, and a couple of tier 2 and tier 3 emote slots. This is for real my own jacket? I bought it at a thrift shop, it's dope. Support the clam, there you go. Better to play Tempest after open attack? It depends on your hand. Here it's also more mana efficient because we still have Ruination the subsequent turn. So here we pretty quickly came to the conclusion to drop Karma. We don't mind Karma being removed, since we want to have her in the death pool anyway, for Rekindler to be played, and we have Go Get It in hand. So if we make it like past turn 10 and stabilize a bit, we can just go for insane value plays. The downside of this was hand size problem again, right? We're already on 8 in hand, Karma's gonna generate a random card, and we're gonna draw one. We're gonna be on 10 next turn. But since we drew the Go Heart, we did not perceive that as a problem at that time. Because we can kind of empty our hands somewhat, partially mana efficiently. This is gonna bite us in our asses later on. Pretty straightforward stuff here. Very close to Masters again, and I'm getting massive anxiety. Any tips you can give me to get to Masters? It's literally just play. It's literally just do it. There's no cheat. Like, I'm not even saying that like to make fun of you or anything, right? The thing is, you just need to get enough. Like, if you're good enough, you're always gonna hit Masters eventually, and you'll need to get enough of a sample size in. Just play good decks and grind enough games, and while you play, you're also gonna get better at it. Okay, so Czechia on turn 8 decides to go ham, represent lethal. Flipping Lee and a perfect 10 attack. In the same action, they have mana for both Deny and Notify, which is purely disgusting to face. So we pretty early on decided to pop the Palm first. Here, that's an interesting thing, right? If they decide to, if they only have a Bastion in hand, Vengeance first is better. And then proccing a V-barrier with a Palm. But since our opponent's decks usually is going to play 3 Denies and only 1 to 2 Bastions in most versions of Lee, it's probably better to play around Deny rather than Bastion here. We don't even know if Czechia would deny the Palm. It stops lethal anyway, and on their next attack we're going to be on turn 10 with a Karma on board, since we can develop Rekindler next turn. So if Palm goes through, we're also happy. They ended up having the Bastion right here. And we are in the very unfortunate position that we neither have a Vile Feast nor a Steel Tempest nor anything to pop this Bastion at fast speed besides a Vengeance. And our only plays here are, if we want to live, our only plays are either Vengeance or Deep Med into Vile Feast, which is Quite the YOLO line to take. So we already realize we're super duper far behind because on our on their next attack, they can open Hush the Karma. And we do not get any doubled spells. Another thing to mention is we have straight up board hand space problems here. And they're not gonna get better by Karma randomly generating a draw card and us drawing draw cards. Like right here. So we decide for a long time what to do here. We think about it and we think to just straight up play into Deny and lay down the Ruination. But it looked super duper a lot like they had Deny in hand, right? We decide that even though we do have hand space problems, we need to draw into more spells that can stop the next Lee attack. We need to draw into Palms, Denies, or Vengeances. And River Shaper, since he specifically draws spells, does exactly that. Czechia knows this, palms the River Shaper. Yeah, this is game 1. And yeah, we're in a dicey situation. We can either play the Rekindler and hope they don't have open Hush and hope that the deep met, even with board space problems, is going to give us a palm and we can double palm the Lee to go even through Bastion or Deny. Or the other line is we just lay down Ruination and hope they don't have Deny, which is both pretty much very losing, if I'm quite honest. We tanked a long time. I'm pretty sure we decided to lay down the Rekindler for 2 reasons. Yeah, no, I just already mentioned all the reasons. Karma generates a random spell, which may or may not help. There are quite a few outs from those 2 regions, which would be stuff like Steel Tempest, Concussive Palm, Vengeance. Deny. Did we win, lose, win, or lose, win, win? You'll see. You'll see. I won't spoiler anything. Opponent plays Eye for extra board pressure, which does not matter at all to us. It doesn't make a difference. At this point, we're only thinking whether or not we should go hard. It looks like a good play because it gives us more hand space, right? But if you really think about it, no matter what we do, the deep met is going to cost 5 mana next turn. And playing go hard here is going to tap us out of drawing into a Vengeance and being able to cast it. We also assume our opponents play 2 or 3 Hushes. So we're kind of thinking that there's also a decent chance we might need to generate an answer and draw an answer, like to have 2 answers at least for our opponent's Lee. And we were not quite sure. We debated. It was a very close decision. We decided not to do it. It's probably correct not to do it, even though you have 1 less hand space. And Karma generates Onslaught of Shadows. And we're like, Karma, why you do this? And we draw a Deny, so technically we're not dead. Technically we're not dead. If they don't have a Deny, we're not dead. So yeah, I don't even know which spell they used. Guiding Touch or something. Anyway, they pulled a Karma. We're forced to Deny here. Like, with the Deny, we live. And we can still go get it the Rekindler, right? If this goes through, we can flip the game. If we go get it the Rekindler, we'll have 2 Karmas. And we can just spam spells like freaking crazy. But, as we had kind of a read earlier, they probably have a Deny in hand. And that's exactly what happened. Wait, where did they play that from? That is interesting to me. Right here. So maybe they did not have a Deny very early on. That's game. All we can do is deep med, but we can't really find answers after we tap out. No, sorry, we can key Guardian into a concussive palm. That's the only out we have. It's a Ruination, Shiny mode, and that's it. So, having watched that game again, let's think about whether or not we could have done anything better here. With no other guest on this little podcast than my co-pilot, Gamebreaker, from Team Germany. Wait, what was that? Thank you, Kollege X, for the Twitch Prime sub. Lovely name. So I give a Discord call to Josh here, to Gamebreaker. Yo,
What's up?
how you doing?
Fine, fine. A lot better after beating Czechia.
Feels good, man. Yeah, the results were pretty nice for us today, and the games were insane.
Yeah. Do you want to share your screen? I think otherwise I'm a little behind.
Oh yeah, good point.
On screen.
So did you watch were you in chat? Did you watch the game so far?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. That should be this one. You can see it, right?
Yep, that works.
Okay. I was just thinking, like, what can we learn from this game? Is there anything we could have done differently?
I think we maybe should have Vengeance before palming, because we didn't have a cheap Bastion procer, and that was a disaster.
True. Yeah, I do agree on that one, since if we just palm and they only have a deny, they probably don't deny the palm anyway. Like, yeah, if they don't have any more backup for the Vengeance, right?
The argument against it is that they for sure run triple deny, and we don't know the number of Bastions they play, but it's probably 1 or 2.
Exactly.
So the deny is more likely than the Bastion. But yeah, they probably would never deny that there, so we should probably...
Yeah. That, and another question we could have asked ourselves was whether or not we want to play the Ruination the one turn, where we decided to develop Thresh instead.
Yeah.
But yeah. I think, like, with the draw that Czechia had and us not having answers, any line we take is probably losing.
I think that game, like turn 7, Lee Sin threatening lethal already, was just a little bit too quick for our hand with triple deep med. I don't think we can keep up.
Yeah, pretty much. So this one was a classic case of, like, GG go next. There's still, like, a bit that could be learned from. There were 3 or 4 decision points where it was close. Like, for example, whether or not we want to Vive Feast the Goat on turn 2. Tilted is saying turn 6 Ruination. Yeah, that's also a close decision point. It has clear ups and clear downs. The turn 6 Ruination loses hard to Bastion, but is good if they don't have it. We could have just said maybe they only run 0-1 or 1 Bastions, or even 2 Bastions and didn't draw it. We have to take the gamble with the hand we have. Anyway, that was a very quick game considering Spooky Karma was being involved.